Okay, so we're gonna start taking apart this old deadbolt lock I have on here. Um, First of all, sorry about the light. It's at nighttime, and I'm using an additional light, so it might be a little dark. But all we're gonna do is take off 4 screws right here, over here. So let's go ahead and get started on that. So there's 2 on this back plate. If I can do this without covering it up. And you can't see anything. So there's 2 screws. You can see them on yours. We'll take these off real quick. So this new lock, it installs pretty easily. It's just like these old ones. Pretty easy to do. So just take this apart real quick. Got this GoPro mounted on my head, so if I lose track of the angle, I'm sorry. So I'm going to take these 2 screws out. This whole little brace plate will pop off. So this is what I'm working with. Those are the 2 screws. Horrible darkness. Looks like I'm shooting a horror movie. So we'll put that off to the side. Then the outside one will come undone. So that's the outside. And then we still have the inside piece. So we'll go ahead and take off these 2 screws. We could probably reuse this, but it comes with its own. So we will go ahead and take this one out. These screws are in pretty good. Oh, can't see anything. That would be helpful. Oh, that looks like it's stripped out. That'll be fun. Nope, just looks like it. Okay, so once you have the screws out, you should just be able to wiggle that, and the whole thing will pop out. Alright, so let's grab the new one and start installing that. So we're going to measure this real quick. I don't know if you can see that, but we are at 1 3/8. So if we look back, 1 3/8, we're going to be using the silver screw. But before we get to that, we need to mount the deadbolt first, so let's do that. So we grab the deadbolt. So here we have it. Now you want to look on here, and you should be able to see right there, if it's not too dark and crappy looking, that it says up. So that when we install it, it's going to be up. So we will slide that in. Fit that in the door. So now we're looking on our screws. We have 2 bags of screws. How many do we have? 3 bags. So we have 3 bags of screws. So this one is very tiny screws that we're going to be using later on. I'll show you what for. Two tiny screws, and we have this one that contains the, I don't know if you can see that, the gold and the silver screws. We'll open that here in a minute. We were looking for this one. This one contains 4 screws, 2 tiny and 2 long. Do not know what the long ones are for, but we'll be using the 2 small ones. Or at least I will be. Let me take them out. So we're going to go ahead and mount those hand tight. You got one in there. Go ahead and screw that in. This part is pretty standard. Nothing different than a normal deadbolt yet. Oh, that's a great view. Sorry guys, this is the first video I've ever made, so feel free to let me know how horrible it is. So let's mount these two screws here. This is where I should have got my drill. I've been done with this already. Okay. Feels like that's a little stripped out, but that'll work. Alright, so now we've got the latch installed. Let's go ahead and mount or put the outdoor unit in. So this is the outdoor unit. Like I said, it's got the main shaft, and it's got the two extension wires. It does come with this additional adapter piece. And let's look real quick on which door it would need it. And we have to measure the hole, but let me see what size. Look back in here. Lulu, I've got some apples. Lulu, you got some too. What does it say? So, if we look, if the hole is, say 2 1/8, then we'll need it. If it is 1.5 inch, we will throw it away as evident of the recycle bin. I'm just showing you. So let's measure it. 2 1/8 inches, or 1.5. So very dark over here. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see anything. Let's do it from this side. So that is, I don't know if you can tell, 2 1/8. Gonna do that. Change the circle. So anyways, it's 2 1/8 inch, so it turns out we will need that because it is not quite large enough. So we're gonna go ahead and take this. If you see, this side is going to be the inside. And this is just going to kind of help to buffer it out. Now you can see also there's this notch in here. Camera angles. 1,000 times easier to do this without the camera. So these little notches on either side of it. That's going to have to line up with the deadbolt on this side. So just have to line that up. Just like that. Okay, so here's the deadbolt. So you can see that middle shaft is kind of keyed, or what I call keyed, where one side of it is flat and the other 3 sides of it is oval. We'll have that on mine too that we'll need to adjust. And then the bottom 2 wires will actually slip in right underneath there, is the goal. So let me see if I can do this while keeping it in camera angle and checking to make sure you can see it. Okay, so if you look, oops, that's too close. The key is on the right, or what I'm going to call the key. So I'm going to kind of get that set So the first thing I'm going to do is take the wires, and you can't see that, but I'm feeding them through the bottom. And then once they're through the bottom, I'm going to insert that part. And then the whole thing will just slide. Hard to see with shadows, but yeah, the whole thing will just slide in. So that's pretty much in. Okay, so we're going to do the back piece now. Now this right here is going to be the back piece, but there is a part, this bottom part actually pops up. So we're going to take this, and this is what we're going to mount to the door, and then this is going to mount to here. So first thing we need to do is feed it through. So the wires we are going to feed through this middle hole. This bigger one's a little difficult. You see how it goes through the bigger hole. Then what we want to do is we need to tuck these wires down in here in this little caddy hole, if you can see that, the little hole in the bottom right. Actually, can be a little bit difficult. Try not to rip the wires. So once you get them in that corner, then you're going to feed the main one through. And kind of make sure these are pulled taut. Don't pull them too hard, just enough to be taut. So now we're going to use those 2 silver screws. I pull those out. So here's our bag. You have 2 silver and 2 gold. Okay, so this might be a little bit difficult to do without being able to see that grade, but there's 2 holes on either side that we need to feed it through and lock onto the deadbolt. So what I'm actually going to do is just kind of turn them, kind of see if it'll catch. But ideally you would kind of look down the hole and kind of see where they're at. Maybe we'll look on this side, see if it's lining up. Let's see, I think that got it. Oh, can't see nothing. That's great. So it looks like that caught. So we'll feed these 2 screws. Oh, there it goes. So then while you're doing this, you want to make sure that this top piece is level, because you'll notice it once you put the other unit on. It's much longer, and you'll be able to see the distance from it between the door. So do a check real quick, make sure that is as level as I can get it. I think that looks good. I'll just tighten these screws down. Alright, so we have that done. Now we're going to go ahead and mount the indoor. this is our indoor unit. First thing we need to do is remove this plastic wrap because it's annoying. And we're going to slide this up. Put that away for a minute. Then we're going to slide inside of here. The door where it says that this is the battery pack that you can't see. It just slides in that way. So here, like I said, we have the indoor unit. Now if you can see, can you see? There are two screws. Let's put it over here with the light. So these two holes right here are going to be where we put the screws in that will screw onto here and here. So before we do that though, we have to do the wiring, and there is no great camera angle for this. So, but real quick I'll show you where we're mounting it. So like I said, we did have two wires, these two wires, and they're going to be mounted onto here. So if you can see it, that right there is where one of them goes, that little on the circuit board, and then the wire is where the other one hooks up to. So I'll do my best to show you this, but you're probably not going to see much. And then some really bad camera angles. Okay, so I'm having some trouble with this wire. So if you can see, which I know you can't, there's a little piece of tape on this side that's holding it together. I went ahead and cut that so I can have more to work with. Now we're going to try it. Let's hope I don't have any issues with it. So again, we're going to this other wire. I'll tell you what. Okay, what is the deal? The deal is you're difficult to work with. Lulu, I've got some apples. Okay, I might have to take apart that tape because this is a nightmare. Okay, so we have that. Let's go ahead and take this tape off. The thing I told you not to do. One and the same. Take it off for just a minute. Be extremely careful. Really do not want to do this. Did it once and it was a nightmare. Just so you can find it now. Okay, dokie. So I finally got it. Just kind of had to strong arm it a bit. So we got that in. Now we're going to take this one, plug it in back here. So now we want to make sure both of these wires are fed and they're not going to get cut. Then we need to turn this deadbolt. So then this should just kind of slide on back. Make sure we got it positioned correctly. And there you go. It slid on. That was a fun little thing. Not. So now what we're going to need is these two tiny screws. Okay, so remember these two spots. This one and then this one. That's where I said these will be going. So we're going to go ahead and grab this. Okay, well there goes one. I don't know why the other one's being difficult. Must have not had it in. Okay, so we're just going to tighten these. Not too terribly tight. Don't want to damage it or anything. Alright, well there you go. Done majority of it right then and there. So just so you know, if you try to lock this right now, it is a little sticky. And it actually fixes it when we first turn it on. But it works. Okay, so we have the whole unit installed now, so we're going to go ahead and program it and put the batteries in and get everything running. So first thing we want to do is I want to shut the door, and I want to make sure that this thing latches. I want to pretty much lock it. So make sure it's at a good spot where the door will lock. And then what we're going to do get the camera angle right, is we're going to insert the battery pack, and we're going to hold down the program button, and it should flash from red to green. And then as soon as it does that, we're going to press and release the program button again, and then the latch is going to see what it can do, how it can lock, which way. So we need to install the battery pack. And as you can see, or not see, it says door on here with 2 arrows. So you want to make sure the arrows are facing towards the door. So like I said, what we're going to do is I'm going to press and release that black button right there that says program. I'm going to press it. We're going to slide this in. You just want to kind of let this slide. So red to green. And then we're going to press it. So there you go. So it's set up now. Now it knows which way to turn, which way it can turn. Let's see what else. As far as the lock goes, we are done. So the next thing I'm going to go over real quick before we get into the key fob and everything else is how to program this lock to work with your old keys. So we're going to rekey it real quick. So let me get to that. Okay everybody, so we're going to rekey this. You can see on the far left I have the 2 new keys the Deadbolt came with. The one in the middle is the old key that I will be rekeying to. And then the one on the far right is the actual reset key. So let's go ahead and rekey this. So what we need to do is install the new keys. So we'll take these new ones and we'll put them into the Deadbolt. We're going to turn the Deadbolt, turn the key 90 degrees clockwise, and then we're going to insert this reset key. And you can't see it, but there is a tiny hole above the key that we are going to insert this into. And you should kind of feel it kind of squish against something. That the light is just because I touched it, not because of the key. So as soon as that key is in, while still being able to see, we're going to pull out this old key, or the new keys, I'm sorry. Put that in there. Then we're going to put the old key, insert that in sideways. Now make sure this is completely inserted and not just 90%. So now we're going to turn it back up, take out the reset key, take out the new key or old key, and now we should be able to use this old key and insert it and unlock it, unlock it. And then just to verify the old key or the new keys that it come with, I keep doing that. Now do not turn it at all. Very cool. So now that that's done, we're pretty much done. All I'm going to do now is get the key fob calibrated. So here is our key fob. So what we're going to do is turn this on. If you can see, there's a little gray button underneath where that arrow points to, where we have to press. As soon as you do, you'll see it flash green. And I think it'll flash every now and then, but that means it's activated. So we shouldn't have to calibrate to the door. So let's see if this works. So if I have the key fob and I touch this, it'll lock and unlock. So pretty cool. If you do buy an additional key fob, you can go into the back of the door, and if you hit in the top right where it says calibrate, touch calibrate, and then you'll touch the key fob to the back of the unit. You'll hear it beep, and then what you're going to do is you're going to go outside and you'll see it flash 3 times, and or do a circle of green, and then you're going to touch it and it'll do that 3 times, and then after the 3rd time, if it goes solid blue, then it's actually all programmed. So I know it's really dark. It's dark time, nighttime out here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to touch the deadbolt so you can kind of see it and hear it. So I have the key fob on me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to touch it. You can see the light. So it'll flash orange, and that'll let you know that it locked it. And now we'll touch it again. And it'll flash green twice to let you know that it is unlocked. So the only thing that's left, I'm going to put this back cover plate on, and that is it. Looks pretty. You can manually unlock it now, unlock it, which is a lot smoother than it was before. So that's it. Overall, I think it's pretty cool. I like the idea. I like the way it works. Let me know how you liked the video, and thanks for watching.